It's like, Jebediah, go get my ink. I'm writing something important. It's like, you're not living by it, but those words put down on paper, and it's like, if you do any digging into the history of that, there were many founding fathers against slavery. Um, Thomas Jefferson is a great example of how he had slaves, but was against it. And you know, when states were coming into the Union, he was trying to get them to be quote unquote free states without slaves because he didn't believe in it. But you know, I'm just guessing. Back then, if you were going to compete with other people, you needed to have slaves, and it's morally wrong. But what what people have not been enslaved? It's an evil, uh, barbarous thing, and you know, it's just it happened everywhere. All races, all colors, all creeds, white people, black people, Muslim people, Chinese people. It's all about money. Like, if you had a lot of money back then, you weren't a slave. I mean, just look at it this way: the top 1% of earners back in the 1800s got their boats, went to Africa, bought slaves, exchanged money, because those slaves were already rounded up by black people, and they were paid by white people to take away slaves. Like, it's just a socioeconomic business transaction. Millions of white slaves were also traded and sold. Well, they weren't traded, they were sold. The Barbary pirates. Look it up. you know, this whole notion that slavery was just in the South and just in the United States, it's just like, it's a long, complicated story, as is history. It's not black and white. But I'm telling you, this DEI it's Marxist, communist, racist. It's the worst of everything. And, you know, again, you say diversity, equity, inclusion. I mean, who's against that? That's not how it works. You have quotas. You have it's just racism. I mean, can you imagine having just stellar grades, stellar everything, and you apply? I'll just give an example, like Harvard. Like, your chances of getting in there as a poor white person in this day and age, you don't have a chance. And I could say that, but there are many graphs, many information. You know, it's just, let's put it this way, and it's even worse if you're Asian. Um, yeah, I could explain it, but it's just, anytime that you are admitted to any, it could be a job, it could be college, it could be a school, whatever. If you are, all things being equal, if you are accepted into that position because of your race, you know, and it's tough for black people, because everybody's going to be saying that any person of color that is in a position of power, and when they screw up, it's a DEI hire. You know, like, they're going to get looked upon as not qualified, even though they may be completely qualified. like you cannot you have to let people in based on meritocracy, based on hard work, you know? And right now, companies aren't doing that. Something is going on, something crazy. Because just 2014, it was about equality. It was, I'm, you know, if you go back to 2000, I mean, come on. The United States of America? Are you kidding me? And now you look at 2024, and, one party wants to lead us down the road of communism, Marxism, racism. And people on the Democratic side, they don't get it yet. I'd like, how many things have to happen? You know, at least people in the Republican Party have been, wait a minute. This is bullshit. We go to war all the time, and you're gonna tell me that this time is different. It's different from Iraq. It's different from, Libya or Somalia or the Vietnam War. They're all fucking made up. They're all like, and it's hard to believe. And one more thing, 9/11. It's not. It didn't happen the way they said it did. Like I've watched countless documentaries and heard testimony from countless physicists and people in construction, and there's no way that happened. And I'll end it with this. If you think that's crazy, explain Building 7. You don't even have to explain the Twin Towers. You don't even have to explain the Pentagon, which they had like dozens and dozens of cameras right facing and on right when that plane supposedly destroyed a big section of the building. And the government is refusing to release that footage. Why? But anyway, getting back to Building 7, it there is no explanation. The explanation they give is, well, it caught fire from the other buildings and fire took it down. And all you have to do is look at any documentary on 9/11, and that just doesn't happen. And the thought that our government knowingly let that happen, or in this case actually planted explosives to facilitate that so they can then go into the Middle East, is fucking staggeringly frightening. And I'll leave it at that.